Hello, LPES. For those of you who might not quite remember who I am just yet, my name is Mrs. Heffler and I am our school counselor. And these videos are going to happen every Friday, and we call them that Friday feeling. So we call it that way because there's a saying like that Friday feeling when we're really excited for the weekend coming up and getting ourselves so excited to be able to relax a little bit and stay home. But we also call it the Friday feeling because a lot of the times on these videos, we're going to be talking about our feelings, our emotions, what we're feeling in our hearts, what we're feeling in our brains, sometimes even what we're feeling in our bodies, and the different things we can do to help ourselves feel a little bit better. So, boys and girls, today, before we get really into our lesson, I want to pause for a moment and remind you of a special celebration we have next Tuesday, September, I don't quite remember. Let me look at my calendar. Sorry, I wasn't fully prepared. Even grown-ups make some mistakes sometimes. So, Tuesday, September 21st, in just a few days, is the International Day of Peace. If you remember, we talked about this at our Panther Pride meeting this week. And for our International Day of Peace, we're going to ask you to wear some things that show peace. It could be something with an actual peace sign on it, or a peace sign like this. Sometimes we see people giving a peace sign with their hand. Or it could be something tie-dye, because a lot of times when we think of peace and peace signs, we think of hippie kind of clothing, so we could wear tie-dye colors. And my friends, if you don't have any of those things, you could just wear anything you want, including things that are Lincoln Park themed. So if you wanted to wear some school spirit, that shows that you're a peaceful person who's working hard to make the right choices. Any of those things work just fine. Now, one of the things I love to talk about when we are celebrating Peace Day, next Tuesday, well, this coming Tuesday, I should say. It's only about 4 days away. When we talk about International Day of Peace, I like to think of it in two different ways. First way, when we think about being peaceful, we oftentimes think about how we can be peaceful with each other, how we can get along on the playground, how we can get along on the bus, in the cafeteria, in our classrooms, or even at home. Having peace between you and your little brother or little sister sometimes can be a little tricky. But there's another way to think of the word peace and to think of ways that we can be peaceful. And that is inside of ourselves. Sometimes when we feel all of those big uncomfortable emotions that we'll talk about this school year, emotions like feeling angry or feeling upset or feeling really sad or feeling really confused. Sometimes when we have those uncomfortable feelings inside, it makes it really hard for us to be peaceful, for us to be calm. And that is a huge thing that we're going to be talking about in these Friday feeling videos. We're going to be talking about ways that we can find that calm inside of ourselves. And the ways that we can help to calm ourselves down when those big emotions make us want to be anything but peaceful. Think of it this way. If you're feeling really angry about something, maybe someone's not sharing a toy with you, or maybe someone took something from you that you were playing with, and you feel really angry about it, sometimes we can make a poor choice, like letting that anger become something like hitting or pushing or shoving, and that's when we would get in trouble. So not only do we have to practice peace within, but when we're feeling peaceful in ourselves, and sometimes we can be more peaceful to those around us too. Now, I have a perfect thing to show you today that is hopefully going to help each and every one of you find a little bit more peace at school when you need it. In the next couple of days, you're going to see popping up around our school and popping up in your classrooms these different posters and these different boxes. And these things are what we call cool down corners, or sometimes you might see them as reset. Oh my goodness, Mrs. Heffler doesn't have anything she needs near her right now. I just realized I have a poster in the other room. Hold on, let me grab it. Sorry, guys. So as I was saying, we're going to have calm down corners or cool down corners or reset spots. You're probably going to see these posters a lot in the next couple of days or weeks in all of these different classrooms. Pretty much any place you go during the day in our school is going to have a reset spot that looks just like this with one of these posters. And at that reset spot, you're going to see a few different things, like a few different instructions on all these different posters. I'm going to show you more of those in a minute. But before I do that, I wanted to show you something I actually have in my office, and some of you may have already actually known about it. So when you come down to my office, let's say you're having a tough day, something's really upsetting you, you just need to talk it out, or maybe you're having a fight with a friend and you need to come down to Mrs. Heffler's office so we can work through it together. When you come down, you might see these bins here. And in here, I showed you one last week. I think I showed you this guy here. In here, I have all different kinds of fidgets, right? We have squishies, we have slinkies here. We have these spiky balls. We have a really popular one these days, Poppets. And these things, while they're fun to play with, what they really help us to do sometimes is they help us to calm ourselves down. When our body is doing something or fidgeting with something, especially with our hands, sometimes that helps us to feel a little bit more calm and peaceful and to relax also. So I'm excited to say that in the next week or so, you're going to see these reset spots start popping up all over the place around our school. And in these different reset boxes, they all look like this. They're clear, they have red handles. In them, you're going to find a few things that you can use if you ever need help calming yourself down. And a lot of these things are similar to things that you might find in my office. And today, I thought we could take some time to go through them together, and I can tell you about how we use them to help ourselves to calm down and relax a little bit. But before I get to that, I need to make an important announcement. These things are only to be used when you're feeling an uncomfortable emotion. These things should only be used when you're feeling sad, confused, frustrated, angry. They shouldn't be used when we just want to go play with something. They should not be used when your teacher's trying to teach you something really important and you just don't really feel like learning at that moment. These things should only be used when they're needed. Okay? These are special tools that we have, and they're special things that we get to have in our school, which is really exciting. But that means we also need to treat them with respect, and we need to treat them carefully in the way that we want to make sure we're only using them when we need it. Otherwise, we're going to use it too much, and it's not actually going to serve its purpose anymore. It's not going to help us to calm down if we're using them all the time as a toy. So these are special things that we only use, again, when we're having those big, uncomfortable feelings. All right? And I'm going to keep reminding you of that as the school year goes on, and I know our teachers will too, to make sure that we're not just getting up out of our seats when we need a little break. We're really using them when we feel like we need some help to feel a little bit better or to feel a little bit more calm. So inside each of them, there are some different ones that, different items that might pop up. So each classroom will have different things. They're not all exactly the same. And that's kind of fun too. If you go to a different place, there might be some other things that you haven't seen before. So one of the first things is this stuff here, this incredible foam dough. And this is really fun to play with because it's kind of squishy and enjoyable, but it also doesn't really make a mess because it all kind of stays together. So it's in this packaging. And what you could do is you can take some of it off, just like I did, and you can kind of squish it in your hands. And it's neat because it feels sticky when you're touching it, but it doesn't really feel sticky when you stop. Like my hand's not sticky still after touching it. And another thing when we use these calm down kits, and this is really for our teachers who are listening, is to make sure that we set a timer for it. So if Mrs. Heffler is upset, I'm not going to the calm down kit and playing in it for the next 30 minutes. Maybe I'm only here for a minute or two, maybe 5 minutes if I'm really upset, and getting time to kind of pick one item. I would really suggest, my friends, picking one thing at a time. So don't open your calm down kit and start picking up all the things and trying to play with all of it. Pick one thing, put the rest kind of to the side so it doesn't distract you. And then what you can do is really focus on that object. One of the things I like to do when I'm trying to calm down with something like this is to focus on how it feels. It could be how it feels, maybe how it looks, maybe how it smells, if you can smell it through your mask, if you're wearing a mask. Maybe even if you listen, you might be able to hear how it sounds too. Some of them have different sounds that they make. All of those things are our 5 senses, right? The only one we didn't do is taste because we're not putting anything in our mouth. I can't stress that enough. You're not putting anything from our calm down kits or our reset, keep forgetting the word, reset spots in your mouth. But we can use our other senses to help us to calm down by focusing on them. So focusing on how it feels, how it looks, how it sounds, and maybe even how it smells. Yeah, this one kind of has a cool smell to it. So if I was done with this, or maybe if I did it and I was like, this really isn't helping me to feel better, I could quietly put it back. For these foam ones, you can kind of put it back into its little baggie. Or maybe teachers, we can come up with some other things to put these in, like a Ziploc bag might be helpful. This next one I'm going to show you is one of my favorites, and I have a few in my office that I like to use with kids. What it is it's all this different colored kind of water, and what it does is it floats down as we go. And if I flipped it over, it would go down to the other side. Now, what I love about this is you can use this to kind of calm yourself down by looking at it, watching those bubbles float down, and maybe also practicing some deep breathing as we do this, which I really love. In fact, I'm going to give this guy another second because all of it is almost at the bottom. If you can kind of see there. There, that might help a little bit more. Yeah, so all of that blue and purple, those blue and purple liquid dots are down at the bottom now. Let's go ahead and flip it over and we're going to take some deep breaths together. Ready? As we watch. Get white background so you can see a bit better. Let's take a deep breath in and out. Deep breath in and out. Let's do one more of those. Deep breath in and out. So I love using this type of thing. Can be used as a timer also. I don't know how long it takes exactly for all of the purple and blue to get down to the bottom, but it's a nice way for us to kind of take a few minutes just to focus on our breathing or just to focus on something that's calming us. Maybe it's a happy thought that we have in our mind. Maybe it's telling ourselves a positive affirmation, a positive sentence over and over again. Watching those dots go down and thinking to ourselves, I can do it. I can do hard things. One of my favorites. You might remember that from last year, my older kids. So that's another piece of our reset spots. Classic, not a real donut, don't eat it, but a classic squishy guy, which is always fun. This one is one of those slow rise ones, but then we also have one that's a little bit harder to squeeze. So if you really wanted, these are good, I feel like when we're feeling really angry or frustrated, they're kind of good to squeeze because they really make us get some of that anger or aggression out, which is nice to have. Then we have, there's a little bit of plastic on top of this guy, but we have some Play-Doh in here. Let me grab a pen, hold on, kind of pop this one open. So with our Play-Doh, again, we should make sure if this is on a carpet or if we have a rug in our classroom, we're not letting this go on the rug because we don't want to make a big mess for our teacher. We don't really want it going on our clothes either. But this is a nice thing, again, to kind of play with, to squeeze. You can focus on building a little something. There's only one color in each bin, so we're not asking our teacher for more. We're not asking our teacher for a different color or for multiple colors. The only thing that it's here for is to really help us to focus, to calm ourselves down, and to reset. Do you know what the word reset means? My older students might, because of technology, if we have to reset something, then it kind of means start it over. So let's say your computer's not working, right? Your tablet's not working. You might have to reset it or restart it, and then it kind of starts working magically. All of a sudden it fixes itself. That's what we're trying to do with our reset spots. We're trying to give ourselves a minute to reset, to start over again, and to feel a little bit better. Neat thing about Play-Doh like this is it definitely does have a smell. So with this one, you can focus on how it feels in your hands. This is kind of cold too. You can focus on the texture of it, kind of that doughy, hard, squishy kind of thing. You can focus on how it smells. Did I already say that? On how it looks, the color of it, the shape of it. Doesn't really make a sound, but you could listen for one, and that's always good to check in with those senses again. All right, let me put this guy away. You guys are doing awesome. I hope you're getting excited about these reset corners, these reset spots. But again, we're only using them when we need them. It's not something that we're doing all the time just for fun. This is a really neat one. This is like Kinetic Sand. If you ever come in my office, I have a sand tray that we use sometimes. This is kind of like that, but it's in this neat little pouch so that we can't make a big mess with it and can't go all over. But so you can use it to kind of squeeze the sand around, to move it about, to try and, dig through it almost while it's in this little pouch. And that's a nice way for us to calm down. These guys are some nice little twisty ones. So you can just kind of twist them in your hand. That's one way that we can use them. They all have different pictures. So you're going to see this one has a bunch of different hearts on it, and every single side is a different kind of heart, which I think is kind of neat. If I was using this, I might be twisting it and also trying to focus on my heartbeat or feel my heartbeat or even hear it sometimes. If your heartbeat's going really loud, you might be able to hear it. You could always block an ear, block one of your ears with your finger and listen for your heartbeat. So I might use it like that, or I might just want to be twisting it and playing with it. And again, using your 5 senses to really think about this one, to look at it, to observe it, to see how it feels, see what it looks like. We're not tasting it, but everything else you can use. Okay, let me open up another kit. And like I said, most of them have the same things or similar things. Just a few of them are a little bit different. This one has a little spiky ball, kind of like I have in my office. I personally, Mrs. Heffler, myself, I love having these. If I'm on the phone or on a call with someone or doing some work or reading something, I might be playing with this in my hand like this, and just kind of rubbing over the surface of your hands can really help us to calm ourselves down, because it's that nice calming sensory thing that's happening where we're feeling those spiky balls, that spiky ball kind of rubbing along the palm and our fingers. So using it that way, you could also kind of squeeze it a little bit. It's not like a squishy ball in that way, but you can definitely squeeze a bit to get some of those emotions out. This Calm Down kit has another one of those awesome timer things, but this one is different colors. And then we have, this is actually really neat. I wish I had one of these for my office. It's like a tangle, but it's a fuzzy tangle. I've never seen one of these before. And so it is something that you can just kind of move around a bit, use in a different way. Again, while we're doing this, we should be focusing on our breathing, focusing on our senses. What does it feel like? What does it sound like? What does it look like? Asking ourselves those questions so that we can reset a little bit and feel a little bit better. Okay? And I have one more bin here. This one just has one different thing. Actually, so I'm going to show you a few more of these twisty guys because I told you they have different pictures on them. So this one has different kinds of food. I kind of like that one because you could think about what those foods taste like or smell like as you're twisting through. And this one has all different kinds of animals on them. We have a snake, a cat, a pig. We have a bird, a lion, I think, a tiger, and an eagle. So you can be flipping through those and thinking about what those different animals are like, thinking about what they sound like, thinking about where they live. Anything that we can do to get our brain thinking about something else than the thing that has us upset can help us to calm down a bit. So as I said, in this last bin, the only other thing that I didn't go through is one that's kind of similar to one we already talked about, and that's just a regular tangle. Sometimes kids come into my office and they're like, Mrs. Heffler, what are these things? Tangles are just things that are fully connected, and you can kind of make them into different shapes. You can twist them this way and that way. And all of these have cool textures. Like this one has a kind of gel kind of texture on it and some bumps. The other one was that fuzzy one. Anyway about it, friends, I think these are going to be really helpful for us to feel a little bit more calm as we go through our day, or to reset when we really need it. Now, I love the posters that come with this because they talk us through what we need to do. And even if you can't read yet, my kindergartners and some of my first graders, that's okay, because they have these nice handy pictures. So we have step 1, stop. So if we're in class, we feel ourselves getting really anxious, angry, upset, we can stop. Then your teacher is going to tell you what you need to do to go to your reset spot. Is it going to be raising your hand and asking? Maybe. Some teachers might say, you know what, if you need it, you can just go ahead and go. Whatever your teacher wants to do, however they want to handle it, they're going to tell you. Step 2 is to reset. We have this, sorry, I'm doing this backwards because of my computer. We have this arrow going in a circle. So we're resetting ourselves using our reset kit to help us feel a little bit better. And step 3, thumbs up, because we're feeling good again. We're ready to join the class again. A few other things. We have this poster that says reset in progress, do not disturb. So if a friend is in a reset spot, we don't want to be talking to them or distracting them. We want to give them their space so that they can reset and feel a little bit better. Another thing we have are all of our feelings. Not all of them, but a lot of them. So one of the things we're going to do is to name our feeling while we're sitting there. You're probably not going to say it out loud because your class is still going to be learning, but you can look at this and think to yourself, wow, right now I'm feeling really mad, or right now I'm feeling really excited, or right now I'm feeling really nervous about something, whatever it might be. Teachers, just so you know, if you wanted to have them use it in this way too, these are laminated, and so you could use a dry erase marker on here, and on the back of some of them, the kids can actually work through them. This would be really great for our older students who could definitely read and write on their own at this point. Then it says, reset your body and brain. Sit down and take a deep breath. Choose a calm down strategy. And so there are a few options, again with pictures. You can take some more deep breaths. Maybe you could look at a book. You could count, drink some water, think calming thoughts and reflect. You could use a calm down tool. You can use a calm down tool from our bins. You can draw or color, stretch, write, or close your eyes to reset. So you can pick one of those things to help you reset your body and your brain when we're having those really uncomfortable feelings that are hard to deal with. And then the last one, this is how we know we're done, says, I know I am reset when, and we have a few cues, when my voice is quiet, when my entire body feels safe, when I'm ready to listen and focus, when my arms and legs are being kept to myself, and when my breaths are slow. So we know if our breath is still, or we're really having trouble controlling ourselves, we might not be reset, and we might not be ready to join the rest of the class. Boys and girls, I am so excited that we're going to be having these bins in your classes this year, and also these posters to really help us work through those uncomfortable emotions when they happen. And I know as time goes on, we might have to change things, we might have to add things, I might have to remind you about certain things about these bins, but I'm excited that we have them in our classrooms, and I hope your teachers can find a nice quiet spot in your classroom, away from maybe everybody else, to really have that peaceful, calm down, reset spot for you set up and ready to go. Boys and girls, I can't wait to see you again next week, and I'll see all of you here in person on Monday, and more importantly on Tuesday, when we are all celebrating International Day of Peace together. I'll see you all then. Bye, LPES.